The connection between Sunday worship and paganism. You think Sunday worship is Christian? You think gathering on the first day of the week honors Jesus Christ? You've been lied to, deceived, trained to believe a tradition born, not in Scripture, but in the blazing altars of pagan sun worship. Yes, you read that right. Sunday worship is rooted in ancient idolatry, not biblical truth. Let's expose the uncomfortable truth. Long before Christ walked the earth, long before there was a Catholic Church, long before the term Christian even existed, sun worship dominated the pagan world. The Babylonians, Persians, Egyptians, Greeks, and Romans all bowed before the great celestial orb. They honored it as the giver of light, life, and harvest. They built temples to it. They set aside one day of the week to worship it. What day? The day of the sun, Sunday. It was never about the god of creation. It was about Ra, Apollo, Sol Invictus. It was about idolatry masked in reverence. So how did this pagan practice creep into Christianity? It began with compromise. By the 3rd century, Rome had grown hostile to the Jews and to Sabbath-keeping Christians. To avoid persecution and attract more converts from the sun-worshipping pagans, church leaders began to distance themselves from the seventh-day Sabbath and adopt the popular practices of the empire. Then came the Unholy Alliance, Emperor Constantine. In AD 321, he issued a civil law declaring, "On the venerable day of the sun, let the magistrates and people rest." This was not a Christian law, it was a pagan law dressed in political clothing. Only later, at the Council of Laodicea, did the Roman Church officially outlaw Sabbath-keeping and elevate Sunday as the new day of worship. Not by the authority of Christ, not by command of God, but by the will of man steeped in pagan custom. Let their own words convict them. Sunday is our mark of authority. The Church is above the Bible. Catholic Record, September 1, 1923. The Church took the pagan Sunday and made it the Christian Sunday. Catholic World, March 1894. So the question must be asked, why do Protestants follow this tradition? You claim sola scriptura. You claim to follow Christ. But you bow to a practice birthed in sun worship, enforced by Rome and never commanded by God. Where in the Bible is Sunday called holy? Where is it blessed, sanctified, commanded? You won't find it, because it's not there. Exodus 20:8-11 still stands. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. The 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. Isaiah 58:13. God calls it my holy day. Malachi 3:6. I am the Lord, I change not. Jesus kept the Sabbath. The apostles kept the Sabbath. Heaven still honors the Sabbath. Isaiah 66:23 says, "From one Sabbath to another shall all flesh come to worship." So why do you keep Sunday? Because the world loves tradition more than truth. This is not a harmless error. It is spiritual adultery. To substitute God's law with man's is to commit idolatry, the very sin that brought judgment on Israel over and over again. You cannot serve two masters. You cannot mix light with darkness, Christ with Baal, the Sabbath with sun worship. This is your warning. Come out of Babylon. Reject the counterfeit. Return to the commandment of the Most High. Because in the last days, your day of worship will declare your allegiance. Will you stand with the Creator on his Sabbath, or bow to the sun with the masses on a day drenched in paganism?